Hello everyone, I'm Rishi. I'm a senior in college, and I basically started this channel and started uploading on it so I could have an excuse to talk about literature or books or just anything productive. I feel like I always say I don't have time for, but I really do. So today we're going to be talking about Gabriel Garcia Marquez and his book 100 Years of Solitude, or Cien Años de Soledad. Now this book, obviously, it's a Nobel Prize winning book. It really speaks for itself. It is like a titan of the genre. It's part of magical realism. Like, it is the magical realism book, if you ask me. And Gabriel Garcia Marquez, he really just put a huge spotlight on Latin American literature and Latin America and culture and history in general. And wow, just it is really just a massive achievement, I feel like, because Latin American literature is, there's some great stuff out there, you know, some great authors, some very smart people, and you know, Marquez, he's no exception to that. So I will say, this book, I thought it was absolutely incredible. Like, I really just cannot gush enough about how much I enjoyed this book. Now, I can see why some people wouldn't enjoy it. I'll talk more about that later. But to me, I thought the main things that stuck out were just, first of all, the writing style. He's really, like, he can write the hell out of a sentence. We'll just put it that way. Even in translation, it really just shows. It really just shows his writing ability, his prose. It really, like, bleeds through the language, through the translation. Like, it transcends language. And, you know, some of these like sentences he says, like, I even felt like, me reading this, like, I could even become like a better writer. Just like I noticed my writing like start to improve a little bit after reading this. And that's one thing, the writing. And then I think the other main thing I wanted to talk about was his use of time and history, and like the themes and like the importance of those things, in those aspects of life in this book. He really focuses in on those. So if you don't know, if you're not familiar, this book is essentially, it follows the history, 100 years history of the Buendia family and their founding and living in the town called Macondo, which is a fictional town. It's totally fictional. But it talks about just how the Buendia family starts and ends, and how the town kind of follows along with them. And I mean, that's a very simple kind of thing, but yeah, that's the main premise. And to say that time isn't like played with in this book, and like that history is like kind of really just seen as like an absurd thing, is like an understatement. I feel like that is the main takeaway from this book. That's the main thing I took away. And but it's like such a thing where the places, and like Macondo, and then like the Buendia family home, they feel like people, or they feel like characters. They feel like the main characters, not even the Buendias. Like, because, you know, the thing is, the Buendias, like, they come and go after 100 years. Like, there are new ones, there are old ones, there are some of them, they die off, whatever. But one thing that really stuck out to me about this book was just how Marquez was able to make this town come to life, where it starts out as such a very ideal, fantastic, I don't want to say ideal, but like very fantastic, magical, unreal place. It's like really just cloaked in a sense of wonder, and it's cloaked in like a sense of whimsy almost. Not really whimsy, but like a sense of just wonder and amazement and curiosity. And then, you know, like it's just crazy stuff starts to happen. Like when the town first like is founded, no one dies. But then, you know, as things progress, like as history starts to progress, you know, technology comes in, the outside world starts to creep in, history, war, famine, you know, all these like things happen that change the people and change the landscape, to the point where the town just becomes unrecognizable. And like, wow, it's just crazy stuff. I don't know how else to say it. So in that way, you know, like, because of the history and because of the nature of time and the nature that time has where it changes things, it just has an effect on you in this book. Like, it really does. There's one quote from the Ursula. She's like the matriarch of the family for a long time. She says, like, that's how it is, time passes. She says something like that, or like, what did you expect, time passes. That's the quote. And it was very simple. That's like one of the probably the simplest sentences in the book, but that I think stuck with me the most, right? Where it's just such a simple thing, but you know. So that's, I'd say, the main thing I took from the book. Also, another thing I kind of wanted to touch on was how much he draws from real Latin American history, and just like he has a lot to say, I think, for those who listen, about the nature, like kind of the helpless, hopeless nature and like the cycle of Latin American history, where a lot of the Buendias and a lot of the people in the novel, they repeat a lot of the sins of their ancestors, and the nature of war and arrogance, and that kind of play a role in shaping people's lives in these parts of the world. And you know, I can say, like, even though I'm not Latin American, like I was really struck by this aspect of the novel, because it's like anywhere in the global south that has been impacted in some way by colonialism, you know, there's like sort of a trauma that people have. There's like sort of a just mindset that people have, and like there's sort of a helpless feeling that there's always this cyclical nature. And Buendia is like not afraid to touch on that. Not Buendia, Marquez, he's not afraid to touch on that, where yeah, he really has something to say about just living in a post-colonial society. And that was just one aspect of the novel I thought was very interesting as a South Asian myself. And I think one of the questions he asks is like, I mean, to me at least, it's like, how much are we really responsible for things that happen to us versus like outsiders, or not just outsiders, just anything happening to us, outside influence, you know, like war or anything like that. Like, do we bear responsibility in that? Do we have the power to stop these things? Do we have the power to change things? And I think in the way that the novel ends, it's really just I don't want to say sad, but it really is just like, it's like, it is what it is, you know, like that's like what it is, like where things happen and things change, people die, people go away, people come and go, things come and go, things happen, and that's just how it is, you know. That's life, I guess. That's life. And that's the main theme of this book. Now, very quickly, I will say this book is not for everyone, and there are some very weird parts, if you know what I mean, like, not in the sense like, oh, it's like whimsical, fantastic shit happens, yeah, whatever, right? Anyone can deal with that, but like, there are some just like taboos that are touched on. Maybe people are having relationships that they shouldn't be having. So I was talking to my mom, and I was like having a hard time recommending this to her, because there are just like some weird themes that I was like, I don't know if my mom, like, I don't know if she should read this and just be like, what is wrong with you, right? But I would still say read it, just take it at face value. Then the other thing is, a lot of people I saw on Reddit, because I was like reading some of the reviews on there after I read this book, they were like, I didn't finish it because, you know, it was very convoluted and long, and like 3 things were happening in one lengthy ass paragraph, which I could see that as well. That I kind of felt like that at times. I felt like it dragged, but I would say stick through it. I would say read it like every day, like, so you don't get confused, and just try and, I guess, enjoy the literature, enjoy the writing style. That's really what kept me going through it, and I think you'll find there's a lot to love in here. So yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, whatever. Bye.